Good evening, I'm lead anchor Bill Burgundy. With co-anchors Bianca Brown, Brenda White, and with Benjamin Green in the field. This is World News Now. Welcome to WWN. To kick things off, we're sending over a correspondent, David Green, to Israel. David, can you tell us what's going on there?
Yes, Bill. Earlier this week, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert called upon other Middle Eastern countries to unite against Iran's ambitions for nuclear power. The UN states there's no legal reason to deny Iran nuclear aid.
Well, why doesn't the UN or America impose sanctions on Iran?
That's a good question. From what I've heard, the White House has been trying to impose sanctions against Iran, but it's not that easy, seeing that Iran has stated that they're only using it for medical purposes, and there's no law against providing nuclear aid.
That's a good point. Back to Israel. Couldn't they just be trying to create a powerless countries in the Middle East? Isn't Israel one of the only countries which have nuclear aid?
That is correct, Bill. Israel is the only country in the Middle East which has nuclear power. So clearly there might be more to the story.
Thanks, we'll be expecting more of the story later. Moving on from nuclear power to oil, correspondent Bianca Brown is in with us today. Bianca?
Yes, Bill. An energy consulting group announced Tuesday that world oil will last for at least another 24 years. It seems that the peak oil theory was mistaken. The world has about 4 trillion barrels left and can continue to survive for at least another 112 years at our current rate of consumption, about triple the amount estimated by the peak oil theorists. And speaking of oil consumption, the G20 summit is being held this weekend in Southern Australia to discuss the issues of the developing world. Some of the countries in attendance will be China, India, and Brazil. On the top of the list are the issues of the rising inflation and the ever-rising energy prices. China is one of the top concerns for the G20 Summit Committee. According to Australian Treasurer Peter Costello, China is a huge importer of energy and is soaking up global resources. Evidently, China and India will be important factors when it comes to resource consumption. Bill?
Moving on to a very unusual story. John Reed, the Home Security and leader of his own corporation, is currently running a secret operation for counter-terror measurements in UK. Ever since the London bombings, he's been working with the British intelligence, finding ways of preventing future terror attacks. He's now undergoing an inside terror investigation of the UK's Department of Treasury by UK's favourite Gordon Brown. This investigation might bring up some ill news prior to the upcoming elections, where Brown is favoured to be elected the next Prime Minister.
Right.
Turning now to the other side of the world, Mayor Giuliani is on the line with us today, and we'll be discussing his upcoming candidacy in the 2008 presidential election. Bianca, can you start us off?
With the passing of the midterm elections, it has come time for the presidential election campaigns to begin. Former Mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, will talk to us today about the possibility of him running for president in the 2008 elections. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Bianca.
It's been reported that you have invested in a team of specialists to consider the possibility of you running for the presidency. Is this true?
Yes, I've hired a team to look into my candidacy. I feel that I could really make a difference in our country, but nothing is official yet.
After 9/11, you received ample praise for the way you handled the situation and a lot of publicity. Would you be counting on this if you were to run?
Most definitely. Creating a good reputation for yourself is one of the hardest things to do in a presidential campaign, because everyone else is doing the same thing. This just gives me a head start.
That sounds great. I'm afraid we're running out of time, but thank you for being with us today, Mr. Giuliani, and good luck in the future. And back to you, Bill.
Thanks for that, Bianca. The Queen of England's very unusual speech is viewed in all press today. She has planned a bill that would force loud families out of their homes for at least 3 months. This bill is intended to affect dozens of families across the country in England this year. Turning now to national news, correspondent Brenda White will be discussing Sweden's current affairs with us now. Brenda?
Yes, Bill. One of Sweden's most important issues currently is our rate of population increase. Sweden's population has increased this year by 100,000, which raises Sweden's population to 9,103,000, the biggest growth since 1994. From January to September 2006, 74,000 people moved to Sweden. This is reported to be 54% more than the immigration to Sweden last year. The number of immigrants from Iraq has also increased by 700 However, immigration is not the only cause of Sweden's population growth. The total number of births exceeded the number of deaths by 14,000. And with our time running short, here's our last story for tonight. Sweden's largest nuclear power plant was forced to shut down earlier yesterday due to a massive inferno. The plant's spokesman said that the fire was started with a quote, explosive nature. Luckily, all safety systems functioned properly and there was no threat of a radioactive leak. It's still not clear when the plant will be able to reset and continue producing power.
Thank you, Brenda. That's a wrap for tonight. Be sure to join us next time for the current world news issues. From the whole team at WWN, you stay stunning, Stocko. Ever since the London bombings, he's been working with the British intelligence, finding ways of preventing future terror attacks. He's now undergoing stop there. Stop. Turning out to national news, correspondent Brendan White will be discussing.
And speaking of oil consumption, the G20 summit is meeting this weekend in southern Australia to discuss the issues of the
Discussing Sweden's current affairs with us now. Brenda, issues from the whole team at WWN. You stay stunning, Stocko. I can't really read it because figure. Thank you, Brenda. That's a wrap for tonight. Be sure to join us next time for the current world issues. From the entire WWN team, you stay stunning, Stocko. Now,
It's reported that
with co-anchor Bianca Brown, Brenda White, and with Benjamin Green in the field. Sorry, I do usually this.
you have invested in a team of specialists to consider the possibility of you running for the presidency.
And with our time is
Oil consumption, the G20 summit is being held this weekend in southern Australia to discuss the issues of the developing world. Some of the countries in attendance will be China, India, and Brazil. I was doing really good.
Good evening, I'm lead anchor Bill Burgundy. Go. He's now undergoing stop there. Stop. Thanks for that, Bianca. The Queen of England's very unusual speech is viewed in all of press today. She is planning to build.
And with our time running short, here's our last story for tonight. Sweden's largest nuclear power plant was forced to shut down earlier yesterday due to a massive inferno. The plant's
that would. Turning now to the other side of the world, Mayor Giuliani is
Right.
Turning now to the other. Thank you, Brenda. That's a wrap for tonight.
It's okay.
Thank you.
However, immigration.
Stop it! Stop! Thomas, you need to leave.